exposing them to disastrous consequences in case of a leak or rupture.
Sorry about that. I lost my Wi-Fi went off, so I lost my feed. So I'm back up.
Is the continued extension of easy access
I plugged my hotspot in my power pack.
already, yet still hinging on the whims of foreign producers worldwide. Meanwhile, clean renewable energy in this country must fight and claw for the bits and crumbs that have thrown their way. We have enough clean energy technology and efficiency today, especially wind and solar power in Iowa, to cut carbon emissions to net zero in just a couple decades. The key is to move from potential to reality instead of continuing to prop up 19th and 20th century fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are the major cause of increased carbon in our atmosphere. If we must continue bending over backwards for coal, oil, and gas, let's charge the true cost of the product to remove the carbon and other toxics that lead over time through weather extremes and ecosystem changes that we see now. Place a penalty price on carbon emissions. The true cost of fossil fuel production needs to be counted. This pipeline route is being handed over as a gift. This is what they request from you, who are appointed to represent all islands. To do otherwise is just kicking the can down the road, leaving the problem to our grandchildren. And I've heard repeatedly today that the pipeline is safer than rail or truck, no doubt about that. But you know what's safer? Not shipping it at all, because we developed clean energy. My name is Tim Roseberry. I live at 3361 South 1st Street in Springfield, Illinois. I'm the Director of Communications for the Midwest Regional Office of LIUNA, the Laborers International Union in North America. We represent more than 50,000 of the best trained and hardest working men and women in the Midwest. LIUNA members in Iowa are the men and women that would be put to work on the proposed Dakota Access Pipeline. LIUNA members and their families look at this project as a lifeline to good jobs that will help them buy a home and send their kids to college. LIUNA members and the communities they live in have a direct interest in the success of this important project. LIUNA members are trained and ready to build the Iowa portion of this pipeline. LIUNA members go through a state-of-the-art training program to do this work safely. Our accredited hands-on training includes up to 164 hours of pipeline-specific instruction. LIUNA members' commitment to quality extends beyond a dedication to their craft, but also to the sense of community and pride in the environment in which they live and work. We know how to do this work right. We know how to build and leave behind a site better than the way we found it. We're ready to put our skills to work to safely build Iowa's energy future. Thank you.
My name is Kathy Nielsen, 216 22nd Street Northeast, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm here today to oppose the building of the Bakken Pipeline. I have two main reasons. I was born in Cherokee, Iowa, which is in Cherokee County, and I grew up on a farm in Buena Vista County, two counties that are today threatened by the Bakken Pipeline. Like many of us here, I loved living on a farm, and I loved being part of farming. Today, I value that farming heritage. And like many of you in the audience, I value the rich soil and clean water that's a part of that heritage. But I know that the Energy Transfer Partners Corporation will not implement policies that will protect our soil and water. They are an out-of-state corporation. Corporations do not make policy based on ethics. Everyone in this room knows about the egregious behaviors of GM, British Petroleum, and Volkswagen. That's national news. But the lack of an adequate regulatory system in the North Dakota oil fields is not as well known. It does not get the same media attention. Energy Transfer Partners must be held to the most stringent regulations
GM, I
our
refer
state
to
agencies
General Motors though.
must be put in place with infrastructure to monitor all aspects of this pipeline construction. We don't have that infrastructure, and I doubt our state government is willing to create it. Finally, plans for the Bakken pipeline are denial of the facts of climate change, or as the young man said, climate crisis. We know continuing our reliance on fossil fuels threatens our very existence. But we have the resources and ability to use alternative energy sources. We need to turn our attention to wind and solar power. We do have highly trained workers in this state, workers that we all respect. These workers
Aaron Badesky, 257 Cherokee Drive, Polk City, Iowa. I want to thank you for letting me speak here today. I'm born and raised in Iowa. I'm a 13-year member of Laborsville for 253. And 11 of those years I worked installing underground utilities. Currently, I'm an instructor for the Iowa Labor Education Training Fund. I'm here to support this pipeline, not only because of the thousands of jobs that will be created, but also because of the faith that I have in our membership and our training. Training that will make sure that the pipeline is built and maintained with safety, precision, and professionalism. Thank you.
I'm Becky Hall, 809 Eastmore Drive, Iowa City, Iowa. It is as a native Iowan raised and educated here to be a critical thinker in our wonderful state, the breadbasket of the country, that I speak today for future generations, including my grandchildren. Just as the Keystone XL pipeline does not serve the national interests of the United States, the Bakken pipeline does not serve the interests of Iowa. Iowa needs to continue with a strong message that we are serious about taking action to lower carbon emissions. The rest of the country and the world are watching us right now to see what we do here in Iowa. Iowa needs to continue as a leader in jobs from sustainable energies, from wind and solar, and union jobs. That is Iowa's legacy. That is the future vision for our great state. 50% clean energy by 2030. We in the 100 Grannies for a Livable Future have come to understand that we can no longer expect our elected, heavily lobbied state and federal officials or their government regulatory agencies to prevent corporations from harming us and destroying the natural world, which is the source of all life. We are committed through the community rights process to protect the portion of the planet here in Iowa by opposing the current power structures and to regain our democratic right to keep our children's children safe and our amazing planet healthy. We can stop this outrageous project by passing locally enforceable ordinances in the counties that will pass through by starting the community rights process. We can still assert our democratic rights to halt toxic corporate actions and protect their communities. I'd like to end with a quote from Winona LaDuke. Someone needs to explain to me why wanting clean drinking water makes you an activist, and why proposing to destroy
dangerous pipelines or something else makes you
Hi, I'm Matt Howard.
makes you
Taking the place of Preston Hall, Brownstown, Illinois. And I'm here to support the pipeline.
makes you responsible. That's what the end of that was.
Iowa. Second generation labor. It's a safe way to move oil. And I hope you support the pipeline.
These proponents are just parroting each other. Okay, we'll do a small Scott McCullough and Cockatoo could do
I'd
better.
offer testimony for the evidentiary hearing with focus on global warming. However, with these 2 minutes, I'd like to focus on the permit process itself. As I understand it, the permit can be awarded if the project is judged to promote public convenience and necessity. There's been much discussion about these terms. It seems to me that the testimony from the public hearing and the evidentiary hearing will clearly demonstrate that the project is neither convenient nor necessary for the Iowa public. It should be an easy decision. Yet, I have the feeling that the permit could be granted in a business as usual fashion. Why would this permit be granted even though the proposed pipeline is neither convenient or necessary for the Iowa public?
Nor is
Well,
it
the
a
Iowa
utility.
Utilities Board is a division of the Iowa Department of Commerce. Perhaps pipelines are deemed necessary as an aspect of commerce. Most, if not all, pipelines in Iowa serve the purpose of delivering a product to the public. The fact that this proposed pipeline would not deliver a product to Iowans could be overlooked. This is a pipeline, so it must serve an important function. Or perhaps the permit could be granted because this project is too big to be denied. Millions of dollars would be involved in this development. The piles of pipe are already stacked strategically along the proposed route. There may be very important and influential businessmen counting on this investment. How can the little Iowa Utilities Board stand in the way? Or maybe the permit could be granted because the company satisfied the regulations. They dotted their I's, crossed their T's. There are many possible business as usual scenarios, but my hope is that the standard of the Iowa Utilities Board decision will be to promote public convenience and necessity, because by that standard, the permit can never be granted.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. My name is Jeff Santori, and I am a proud union laborer. I'm not going to go over all kind of what-if scenarios. I'm not going to repeat a bunch of numbers and statistics. I'll be short and right to the point. I'm here to support this pipeline. It will create thousands of good jobs and will provide for many hardworking families. I will ask that the members of the Iowa Utilities Board stand with the blue-collar workers, men and women, and allow them to provide for their families. Please approve this project and also allow it to contribute to the economic growth of Iowa. In conclusion, I'd like to take the rest of my time to thank the veterans and our active duty for protecting this great country. And note, this pipeline can provide career paths for these men and women after they return home. God bless America.
Hello, my name is Don White. I'm from 602 Blue Heron Court, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm the Vice President of the Iowa Renewable Energy Association. We are a statewide 501c3 education nonprofit organization. Our mission is to make renewable energy the primary source of energy in Iowa. Support of the proposed Bakken pipeline undermines this mission. We oppose any kind of infrastructure for fossil fuels for 3 reasons. Number 1, burning fossil fuels pollutes the atmosphere with greenhouse gases, causing climate change. This puts Iowa crops, property owners, and wildlife at risk from weather-related disasters and volatile climate changes. Bottom line, a carbon cycle is way out of whack, and we gotta get it back in check. Fossil fuels are number two reason. Fossil fuels are a finite resource. It doesn't make economic sense to develop infrastructure for a resource that will soon be depleted. Iowa needs to invest in the future, not the past. Prolonging our dependence on fossil fuels hurts everyone except for those who own controlling shares in that industry. Number 3, we have a portfolio of alternatives to fossil fuels that will provide Iowans with long-term economic opportunities. In other words, jobs for union workers, including the folks in the orange shirts. Carbon-free renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, and geothermal will continue creating jobs long after oil reserves have dried up. These economic engines will grow the Iowa economy and reduce carbon greenhouse gas emissions that contribute to global climate change. Some technologies, such as distributed power, are already cost competitive with conventional power.
I'm Clint Wharton from Cowden, Illinois. I'd like to say I'm in favor of this pipeline, not just for the laborers, but for all the trades. Iowa's got some really skilled workers. Some of them are back here. I'd just like to go on the record to say I support it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Danielle Worth, altitudinally challenged. I live at 1456 334th Road in Woodward. I object to this project on the grounds of ecological integrity and intergenerational equity. I work for the Iowa Department of Natural Resources regulating petroleum companies. My job existed because of spills and leaks. Each point source spill cost a minimum of $250,000 to clean up. That's just one spill. This is going on chemically in the soil. Ions and metal pipes. The dance created between these metal pipes and the ions in the soil creates an electrical current that eats small holes in metal. These holes will grow. The pipeline will leak. By the way, solar panels on my barn roof make more energy than I use, and freedom from fossil fuels is patriotic. I am also looking into the eyes of these young people who are here today. They are intelligent, articulate. They are asking that we, the elders, protect and not mortgage their future. They inspire me every day to get up, show up, speak up, and act up. And I like folk music, but I'm going to try this. I'm going to try a rap song that just occurred to me today. Bobby and Cruz, it is so rude. Corrosive, poison will abuse. Eminent domain, just excuse for abuses. Beware of politicians who swim through our state. Screaming all the time, regulations aren't great. Thank you for your time.
I came by and drove last night. I worked on several pipelines in the state of Iowa years ago. You know, I went by some of them when I came by, you couldn't tell that they were here unless you saw the mile marker. I just wonder what we would do without pipelines. Iowa doesn't have much natural gas or any kind of thing. What would they do if we didn't have pipelines to bring the heat? What would they do with the heat? Or when you go home tonight, when you get your water, it comes from pipelines.
He's comparing beneficial
That will be
pipeline
on
to
this
one that's
pipeline,
not
the benefit
beneficial.
will be sevenfold.
Gas and water
Every time there's a pipeline in any
deliver
town, the town comes back
their
and says,
content to
man, we were
users
so
in
glad to
Iowa,
see you all.
whereas
We
the solar
put money in
pipeline
our
will.
economy. You stayed in the hotels. You ate here. You did everything here. When you leave, the tax base is greater. But my whole thing is just what I said earlier. What would we do without pipelines? How would we heat these buildings? How would we get our water? It's fine to be opposed. I've been opposed to things myself. But I think that this is a really good deal for the whole United States. Thank you.
At this time, I would ask that those parties 70 through 79 approach the staging area. And I would again like to remind the audience that we would appreciate you being respectful of both speakers. If you're wanting to join in with those that are speaking with the position that you support, we understand that and are not stopping that, but we'd appreciate you not interrupting the other speakers.
Leonard Larson, 56892, Highway 210, Cambridge. I'm a fifth-generation farmer. I oppose the Backman pipeline. I was actually before the Iowa Utility Board on a transmission line. That line needed to be verified, justified, and proved that it was a true and exact need for the additional electricity, and that all other avenues to supply
It's
had to be
Cambridge,
exhausted.
Iowa.
Then all possible routes that had to be examined for explanation of the pros and cons of each route. Why has this pipeline not been scrutinized of need versus wants? We're 10 to 11 months into this, but not one time have I heard anything of necessity, which was the criteria of passing on it, according to the Iowa Code 479. There has been a national energy shortage for over 4 years. And so why all of a sudden need for a pipeline other than for energy partners who wants to make an extra 1.5 billion gross per year? Who does the IUB need to protect, look out for, or listen to? You listen to Governor Grandstead, or I think listen to Rick Perry, who is on the ETV board, or you listen to the supporters today, which is basically 60% out-of-state people. And I assume from inferring that basically could be 60% of the workers would be out of state. Or you look to the 98% of the Iowans today here that are opposing it. Who do you need to protect of the wants versus needs? Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin fought for a strict use of eminent domain, implying that it's a very strict sacred right. Use of eminent domain for an exact public use may be verified. A shadowed veil of a possible public use needs to be examined to the nth degree. Taking of private property should be sacred, and the taking of private property for another private entity should not be allowed. I've already given my land to the interstate highways, 2 transmission lines.
Hello, my name is J.D. Shepard, and I live at 216 West Glen Drive in the fact is that for good or for ill, crude oil will move from this oil field. And even though some oppose any use of this commodity, it will, in the foreseeable future, move to market. I mean, this is a fact. And will it move to market through a stable hard metal tube or an accident-prone tanker or a huge tank car? Most here have never seen an accident involving a vessel containing tens of thousands of gallons of oil. And I have some first-hand knowledge of experience of witnessing such a tank car incident. I spent several years working at a refinery that was 100% supplied by a pipeline, and some of the product moved out of the plant through rail car. As my crew and I were working near the tank car loading rack, we witnessed a fully loaded car that was being moved into the mainline track from the siding track. Right before our eyes, the rail under the wheels failed and the tank car began to overturn. The lives of my men and I flashed before our eyes as we thought the tank car would break open and spew its contents onto the hot piping and surely roast all of us where we stood. Fortunately for us, very little material was spilled, and a disaster that would have taken our lives was narrowly averted by the car coming to rest against the upright loading rack. The disaster that a fully loaded tank car train accident would bring upon the countryside of Iowa would be a catastrophic environmental disaster of monumental proportions that many here cannot comprehend. With proper oversight, the lesser of these 2 evils will obviously be a closed metal pipeline. Concerns about leaks can be appeased by strengthening the oversight and regulation that these pipelines are subject to. Not just any pipe, but pipe built in America with American labor. Until the day that the use of oil is over, the only truly safe way to move this toxic product to market is a well-regulated and heavily inspected pipeline. And I urge you to approve this product, pipeline. Thank you.
Yeah. He said approve this product.
Hello, I'm Bonnie Pitt, and I live at 330 North 8th Avenue East, Newton, Iowa, Jasper County. I'm also the co-president of the League of Women Voters of Iowa, and we joined the coalition to oppose the Bakken pipeline. The League of Women Voters of the United States believes the natural resources should be managed as interrelated parts of life-supporting ecosystems. Resources should be conserved and protected to assure the future availability. Pollution of resources should be controlled in order to preserve the physical, chemical, and biological integrity of ecosystems and to protect public health. The League has been in the forefront of the environmental protection movement, helping to frame landmark legislation on air quality and water quality concerns. The League lobbied vigorously for comprehensive legislation to control global climate change by setting a cap on greenhouse gas pollution and by encouraging conservation and renewable energy. League has declared opposition to the Keystone XL pipeline because of the need to put the U.S. on a path of emissions reduction, to protect against climate change, and to ensure safe drinking water for all Americans. The League position on water includes stringent controls to protect the quality of current and potential water supplies, including protection of watersheds for surface supplies and recharge areas for groundwater. The League position on land is to support management of land as a finite resource, not as a commodity, since land ownership, whether public or private, carries responsibility for the stewardship. We will continue the fight against the Bakken pipeline. It will make global climate change worse and potentially harm our water resources. We encourage a no vote from the Iowa Utilities Board. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sean Stott. I'm from Springfield, Illinois, 1101 Williams Boulevard. And I am obviously one of those folks who came here to Iowa to speak in support of this project. Why is that? Well, that's because when you join a union, you join a family. And that family speaks up for you, whether it's with your employer or in a forum like this. And so we're here to talk about getting our members and members of other good unions good paying jobs that are going to put food on the table for themselves and their families. I'm here and others are here because our members can't be here. They're busy building Iowa's roads, schools, water lines, and yes, pipelines. They're adding to their thousands of hours, if not tens of thousands of hours, in on-the-job experience. And they are also have to go through hundreds of hours of the most rigorous and comprehensive training available, including pipeline installation. Now, speaking of pipelines, there are 30,000 miles of pipeline under Iowa soil right now. That is 1 mile of pipeline for every 2 square miles of Iowa's territory. The assertion that this pipeline will be a disaster is an insult to the men and women in Orange and other unions who will build this pipeline, and it's an insult to the intelligence of everyone here who listens to that argument. If the Dakota Access Pipeline issue was regarding pipeline safety, Iowa would already be an uninhabitable toxic waste site. As for arguments on climate change, the laborers and other unions here today support wind and solar. Same NIMBY attitudes attempting to block this project are also opposed.
My name is Michael Gannon. I live in rural Yakima. I'm now a state grad and have degrees in animal science and agronomy. I was also a sales consultant and agronomist for a local retailer for 25 years. I've experienced extensive in soils and plant growth. The Dakota Access Pipeline is mapped to cross our farm. There are 2 issues I would like to expound upon. First, the issue of soil compaction. Severe soil compaction greatly reduces water infiltration and plant root growth. One example, dig up a young corn plant, 15 to 20 inches in height, and watch the roots. They go straight down to the heavily compacted area and then go parallel with the soil surface, far above soil, water, and plant nutrients, thus greatly reducing crop yield.